from the Advent Flame News Center. This is AFM News, the latest news from the Seventh-day Adventist World Church. Concise and credible news you can count on.
Hello and welcome to the all-new AFM News for August 15, 2020. I am Leandre Samuels. A Filipino physician has become the first Seventh-day Adventist missionary in active service to die of COVID-19 after contracting the virus in the Central African country of Cameroon. Dr. Manuel Belesilo, whose 25 years of mission work also took him to Zambia, Botswana, and Nepal, fell ill with malaria at a remote hospital in Cameroon, and then in his weakened condition succumbed to COVID-19. He was 67, and he and his wife, Elma, were only months from finishing a 6-year term at the hospital. Manuel Belosilo was born in Pontevedra, a coastal town in the central Capiz province, located about 600 kilometers south of the Philippines capital, Manila. The eldest of 5 children, he accepted responsibilities seriously from a young age, looking after his siblings and helping to run a laundry and egg delivery service to bring in additional income for the family. After obtaining an undergraduate degree in biology, he was accepted into the Doctor of Medicine program at Southwestern University in the Philippines. There he faced challenges with what became a trademark resolve. He kept personal expenses at a minimum to cover tuition costs. Some weeks, his meals consisted of soup made from a single bouillon cube and occasionally supplemented with a boiled egg. Similarly, he could not afford textbooks, so he borrowed them from classmates. During vacations, he borrowed textbooks so he could study ahead for upcoming classes. In his early postgraduate years, Dr. Belosilo worked at the Adventist hospital in Calbayog City in the Philippines, where he met and later married his wife, Elma, a medical technician and accountant. Then he served at Adventist Hospital Palawan in Puerto Princesa in the Philippine province of Palawan. After being confirmed by the Philippine Academy of Family Physicians as a certified family physician in February of 1994, he and his family accepted a mission call to Africa. During their 11 years in Zambia, the family had no television, cell phone reception, or internet access at Yucca Adventist Hospital, and serving a surrounding village of small mud and straw houses. The local radio station was their only source of information. After Zambia, Dr. Belosilo accepted a position at Kanya's Seventh-day Adventist Hospital in Kanya, Botswana, where he served from 2004 to 2007. For the next 5 years, he worked at Share Memorial Adventist Hospital in Banapipa, Nepal. Then he returned to Africa to work for 2 years at the Adventist Hospital in Cameroon. Dr. Belosilo contracted malaria in early May 2020 and again a second time in late May. A subsequent medical test on June 7 showed that he also had COVID-19. He passed away on June 17. A celebration of life memorial service will be hosted by the Southern Asian Pacific Division on August 16 at 7:30 p.m. Philippine Standard Time on the division's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Dr. Manuel Belosilo is survived by his wife, Elma, 2 daughters, and a son. The Adventist Development and Relief Agency, Adra, in the Dominican Republic is providing assistance to hundreds of families affected by Hurricane Isaias, which struck the island on July 30. The storm brought rains that overflowed rivers, drenching 14 provinces and affecting more than 5,500 persons and damaging 1,000 homes. Most of the damage occurred in Maya Province in the southeastern region. Hato Maya is no stranger to hurricanes, having been devastated by Irma and Maria in 2017. Altagracia Zorilla is still in shock on how it all happened when Isaias hit. She said, "We didn't have time to pick up anything, and the water came in so fast that we had to leave quickly. The next day when we returned, we saw the disaster. One of the walls in my house had fallen and all my belongings had been swept away by the flooding." Ms. Zorilla is among the beneficiaries of Adra's response in Hatomea this week. Wilberto Rodriguez from Hatomea said he and his family had suffered from flooding before, but none like Hurricane Isaias. He said the water rose to such a height that we had never seen before. We lost all our belongings, beds, clothes, food, and everything was covered in mud. Adra is providing 409 beds to 385 of the most affected families in Hatomea. The affected families have also received food and clothing. President of the church in the Dominican Republic, Pastor Paulino Puelo, reported that 159 families lost their belongings in the flooding. Several churches were flooded and will be further assessed for structural damage. Puelo continued by saying that the church will continue to pray for the families who, even though they lost everything, are keeping strong in the faith. To learn more about what Adra Dominican Republic and its projects and initiatives, visit adra.org.do. The entire Northern Caribbean University family and the Board of Governors is still shocked as they mourn the recent passing of one of its professors, Dr. Gordon Lightbourne, an associate professor at NCU. He was discovered with multiple gunshot wounds at his home in Christiana, Manchester, Jamaica, by a housekeeper on August 7, 2020. Gordon Lightbourne served as an associate professor in the biology, chemistry, and environmental science department at NCU since 2012. His expertise and work in the area of tissue culture was well known nationally, university officials said. President of Northern Caribbean University, Dr. Lincoln Edwards, expressed his deepest condolences in a recent press statement while highlighting his invaluable contribution to the university and the country. He said, "He was a vital part of the national drive for self-sufficiency in the production of the Irish potato and took seriously his role of producing Irish potato seedlings in the lab for distribution to farmers in central Jamaica." During the COVID-19 pandemic, more than 560 low-income families received food packages and 24 families received laptops for online education thanks to projects sponsored by the Adventist Development and Relief Agency, Adra, in Hungary. Adra's Quarantine Courier Project provided non-perishable food, cleaning supplies, and toiletries to low-income people who found themselves in crisis during the country's lockdown. Adra recruited 32 volunteers, primarily from Seventh-day Adventist churches, to help purchase, transport, assemble, and distribute the food packages. In one town in eastern Hungary, for instance, volunteers from 3 Adventist churches as well as from the community gathered to pack 100 bags with essential supplies and deliver them to the homes of people in need. So far, 7 communities have received emergency aid from Adra during the pandemic. The humanitarian organization has also focused on helping students continue their education despite the disruptions caused by COVID-19. In mid-March, when all schools in Hungary closed and had to transition to digital education, Adra recognized that low-income students would suffer. Adra in Hungary immediately began raising funds to purchase laptops that students could use to participate in online education. By the end of the second week of the school shutdown, Adra had shipped laptops to schools in 3 counties. The school distributed the laptops to disadvantaged students who used them throughout the school year and then returned them to the school. After receiving further donations of funds and equipment, Adra was able to provide a total of 24 laptops to students in 6 communities. In many families, several children use the machine, multiplying the impact of the program. One of the students who received a laptop was Jasmine, who had been battling cancer for 3 years and cannot attend school. Her parents had spent all their financial resources on Jasmine's medical care and were unable to afford a computer for her education. Now, thanks to Adra's Learn at Home program, she can connect with her teachers and classmates more easily during her lengthy isolation. Adra, the global humanitarian arm of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, is assisting approximately 2.7 million families in more than 70 countries during the coronavirus pandemic. Adra's emergency relief activities include distributing food, hygiene products, and cash vouchers to people in need, as well as training frontline workers and providing medical supplies to hospitals serving vulnerable communities. To help with Adra's ongoing COVID-19 response, visit Adra, that's adra.org.
God wants you to have abundant life. Here's this week's health and wellness tip.
For this week's health and wellness tip, try to go to bed between the hours of 9 p.m. and 10 p.m. The hours between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. are extremely important to the circadian cycle, the internal clock for when to sleep and be awake. These hours are when you get your deepest sleep due to your body producing more melatonin between these hours. This deeper sleep will help to regulate cortisol levels, which is the main hormone for stress. You will also experience more dreams due to the body being more relaxed, which enhances creativity and thinking. This high quality of sleep will make you feel well rested and will help you feeling less groggy throughout the day. And that wraps up AFM News this week. Recapping this week's top news story. First Adventist missionary in active service dies of COVID-19. On behalf of all the production team here at Advent Flame Media, I am Leondre Samuels. See you next week.
This was AFM News. Concise and credible news you can count on. A production of Advent Flame Media. Sharing hope. Changing lives.